Hi, this is a short YouTube video of using Google Colabs for generating baby names. You can find the link to this Colab in the description below where it says Google Colab, and when you click on the description you will be redirected to a page like this. If you're asked to sign in, you will have to sign in with your Google account in order to use this Colab. So first off, what you will have to do is take a copy of this collab and save it in your Google Drive. So to do that, you click on File and then go to Save a Copy in Drive. You click that. It will take a few minutes to create a copy for you. And once a copy is created, this is where you start playing around with the collab. The purpose of the notebook is again to generate baby names by yourself, and it is designed for someone with absolutely no programming experience. I've tried to make it as simple as possible, but if you have any questions, feel free to leave uh, the questions in the comment section. So there are some detailed instructions here on how to use this collab, but I'll just be running through the instructions real quick. So this is this particular cell. This is called a cell. In this cell, this is where you add the names, existing names, existing baby names from which like you want a pattern to be derived. So you can add more names by following the simple format, which is you start with a single quote, you end with a single quote followed by a comma, and you just add a name here, and you keep adding more names. Start with a single quote, end with a single quote followed by a comma. If you want to remove a few names, you just select those names and then you press delete, or you can just remove them from the list. If you want to add if you want to remove the entire list and add a new list of your own, you can do so as well. So it's completely up to you, but you will just have to make sure that it starts with a single quote and it ends with a single quote and followed by a comma. This format is important for the program to read each name. So once you've entered your list, you go to the next cell. In the next cell, you have a few parameters here. The first letter parameter is if you want your name to begin with a certain letter, the predicted name, then you remove none. You start with a single quote, you end with a single quote, and give the character that you want your name to start with. So, and if you want your name to have a particular second character, then you start with a single quote, end with a single quote, and within the single quotes, you add the character that you want. For purposes of this demo, I'm just going to leave these as none. So none means that there is no restriction on the first and second letters. The model will predict any name. Any model will start predicting names with any character. So the minimum name length is the next parameter, which is like the number of characters that your name should have at the minimum. So right now I'm having it as 4. I'm just going to leave it as 4. And the number of names is how many predicted names do you want to see in your output. So right now I'm just going to leave it at 10. And epochs is slightly technical term. It's nothing serious. It's not scary. It's the number of times the model will look at this list and try and identify a pattern from that list. So that's epochs. So epoch of 1000 means that the model is going to look at this list 1000 times and then try to figure out a pattern from that. A higher number of epochs might find better patterns, but it depends. An epoch of 1000 gave me good results as well. So depending on what you want, you can increase or decrease the number of epochs and play around with it to find the right number of epochs that works for you. And once you're done with that, you click on run time and you click on run all, which will start the execution of the program. So this animation means that that particular cell is running, and once that is over, it's completed. This is completed, and now your the so-called main code is running right now. So to see your results, you scroll all the way down and you wait for a few minutes. With 1000 epochs, it usually takes about a minute or two for the results to appear. So you just wait for a few minutes and your predictions will start coming in. Yeah, so our predictions have started coming. I just gave 10. So the model has looked at the list that you gave. It built a model of its own, and now it's giving predictions. And these are some of the predictions that the model has given. This is the number of, this is just the printing of the entire list. This is the number of the names one by one. So let's just play around with the parameters a bit. So I'm going to go here and say it should start with M, no second letter, and the minimum length is 4. The number of names I want to predict is 10, and the epochs is going to be 1000. So to rerun the notebook, you will have to click on Run Time, and you click on Restart and Run All. So once you do that, it's going to take a few seconds to start up, and it's going to, the animation is going to start again. It's going to start running your notebook again. So again, as usual, you wait for a few minutes for the predictions to come in. This time it will take slightly longer because any predicted name that doesn't start with an A is ignored. So the model will have to loop over again and start finding new names and see if that starts with an A. So, the starting letter we gave was M. So any name that starts with an M. So yeah, it started giving some names. Yeah, so that's sort of how like that works. If you want to play more with the parameters, now I want to say it should start with an M, and it should start with the second letter should be an E. Then I changed that to E, and then I remember it starts with a single quote, ends with a single quote, and the character should be within the single quotes. And restart and run all again. And this time I'm just going to go to the bottom and wait for the program to start executing. Yeah, so it starts with the M, the second letter is E, and it's given some suggestions which seem okay, but you can increase the number of names in the output and play around with it. One thing that you cannot do right now is without a first letter, you cannot just set a second letter alone for the moment. This is something that I will have to work at my end, but you cannot have this as none and this as some character. That's not going to work right now. And if you give the minimum name length, if you increase this to 10, then the execution is going to take longer because it needs to find a name and it needs to match these parameters, and finding that name is going to take longer for you. So if you think that your notebook's running for 30 to 40 minutes and then still not getting any suggestions, you can come back and try and play around with these parameters and see if you can have better prediction.